November 8th, 2020 is a day I remember with absolute clarity. Literally one day I was fine and the next I wasn't. It was a -10 day and it was a sunny day, so there's still some heat from the sun. And I remember that my hands started to hurt quickly. And I got back to the house and my hands were white and blue. And that was probably the biggest indicator to me that there were things that I was not going to be able to do the same way anymore. Before long COVID, I was a lot more active. One of the things about living up here in the Yukon is that there's so much territory to explore, and I love cycling. I absolutely love it. I was an all-year cyclist, and to lose a big chunk of that time, especially here in the north, I miss that. I had been away working in a smaller northern community in a work trip, and I must have contracted something there, but I didn't have any respiratory issues, I didn't have any fever, I didn't have anything that would have made me think, aha, this is COVID. I just randomly became ill one day after eating dinner, and then essentially did not eat again for about 30 days. I was mysteriously ill for 8 months. I lost 50 pounds in 5 months. I couldn't regulate my body temperature anymore. Blood pressure, temperature, mood, fatigue, appetite, lack of appetite, everything for months. I also suffered from memory impairment during that period of time. I was lost in a fog. The biggest challenge was that there was so little known about COVID at the time, and because we didn't meet the Health Canada criteria or the Yukon criteria for testing, we couldn't get the medical system to test me for COVID. They considered everything except for COVID, and it was the one test that they wouldn't do, even though we were pointing out that the symptoms that I had at the time were so consistent with so many other people. At the end of that period of time, a doctor said to me, our best guess is that you suffered complications from a viral infection that was of significance, without ever saying it was COVID. I grieve the ability to enjoy the outdoors the way I used to. I grieve being so carefree about being outside and not having to worry about whether or not I can tolerate the conditions. I grieve being in that position of not worrying about whether or not my fingers are warm enough, not worrying about whether or not I'm going to have the energy for that road trip, about whether or not I can portage a canoe for kilometers. I miss those things, and I do grieve the loss of those. I'm less worried about myself than I am about others. I'm worried about my kids, I'm worried about my parents, I'm worried about my partner, about my family. And I think about all those vulnerable people, all those vulnerable beings that don't have the ability to look after themselves, and how we have been monumentally, colossally failed in so many ways because there's no common understanding of the risk that this virus poses. The biggest thing I'd like people to know about long COVID is the fact that everyone is at risk, that we don't have the tools right now to really keep people safe. Anyone can get long COVID, and the best way to avoid long COVID is to avoid COVID in the first place.